Yeah, I had to play that because as soon as I was bashing Wessellick for being a Sith, my computer died because he put a spell on it. So hopefully that recorded, and so now we have 3 installments of 2.3, but it's a big one anyway. So, right, Diaz, I don't think it's that complicated of an issue. Probably the one of the most famous deists, Thomas Jefferson. In fact, so what he did, I don't think a lot of Americans know this, is he rewrote the Bible. Yeah, he rewrote it. And what he did is he pulled out anything that violated rational thought. So the walking on water, raising from the dead, 2 fish into 200 fish, any miracle, gone. And so basically it's just a Jesus' words in which he considered, and most people I think would consider a good ethos to follow, just cut out the magic. That's kind of a deist idea there. So let's move on. David Hume, a name to know, is another theist. And honestly, I don't know a whole lot about David Hume, but he's in the AP curriculum. And it seems like the only thing you need to know about him is that he's a deist. So, and you read his quote, it almost sounds theistic. The whole frame of nature bespeaks an intelligent author. It's really more intelligent than I. And no rational inquirer can, after serious reflection, suspend his belief a moment with regard to the primary principles of genuine theism and religion. So I don't really know the context of that. I just really, to be honest, Google searched his name and found something that had to do with the deism and threw it up there. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. Neither should you. So if you see Hume, though, think deism. All right. So you also have a reaction to Lutheranism and many offshoots there of thinking Lutheranism is too dogmatic. Similar that, it seems as any institution grows in size, the corruption sets in. And so a new approach to religion, this being Methodism. So you might be a Methodist, and I know I've been to a Methodist service before. They're all very similar, so it's all about the man JC. But what Methodists focus on, check this out, is the method of delivering information so that it has meaning and purpose. And John Wesley is the founder of that. And really, there's such a big era, and I don't like how College Board organizes this. Really more towards the 1815 than the 1648 is where you see this. I think John Wesley was mid 1700s. You have to have the Industrial Revolution first. That creates an incredible amount of poverty and poor people and sickness and illness. And so Methodists saw this as a mission to methodically instruct people on the virtues of Christianity for soul saving. So it comes a little later than, but it is an ism that fits the still Enlightenment thought. There's also German pietism, or I'm probably mispronouncing that. Pious, yeah, that's about right. I don't know. Similar idea though. I'm not going to focus on it though. 2.3. We haven't really gotten to art in a while since really the Renaissance into Mannerism and Baroque. And Baroque is still the dominant art form. And all you have to do is think Louis XIV for Baroque art. And so it's over-exaggerated, elaborate, flowing. It seeks to do 2 things, enhance Christianity in some cases, and mixes that with the absolutism and the divine right theory. We got more visitors. And what you see, though, is the Enlightenment, as it challenges those norms, the art will then reflect it, and you'll start to see Enlightenment ideas. And one of the Enlightenment ideas that comes out of this is, even though we've been talking about it for a while, is the positive side of nationalism and a nationalist spirit for common people. And so you'll see a lot of nationalistic art. I, in fact, remember after 2 years ago, the AP exam, one of my students, Liseth Yaverni-Reno, something like that. Yaverino, she's in here right now, came and told me about one of the prompts that had a romantic artist, nationalistic imagery, I think like in Norway or Sweden. And I remember she got it right. So she did break the law somewhat because she was not supposed to leak any test information. Probably not a law.
You gave her the dang name, so now she can get in trouble.
True. I'm being interrupted like crazy here. Let's go to some art here. So here's some Baroque artists. Gian Bernini, Velasquez, but just take a look. I mean, I think that is Louis the 14th on the left. Either that or Captain Hook. And then look at the other one. That is Charles, one of the Charleses of Spain. But you notice the angels are crowning him and all that divine right theory stuff. Might even be a Philip. I don't know. Velasquez, obviously a Spanish name. So there it is. Also, in addition to reading chapter 12, read chapter 13. I'll be making both copies of those for you, in which that goes over literature, art, and music. I really hate discussing that stuff. Not that I dislike it. I like art. I think it's cool to look at, but that's about it. I don't really want to go over the techniques. But if you know a couple of these names, you should be good. And hey, we're going to the art museum too. I usually plan it on the day of prom, and I don't plan it that way. It just kind of turns out that way. So if that's your thing, you're not coming with us. Oh, I forgot I did this. So now, yeah. I think your generation grew up with Little Einsteins, yeah?
Yeah.
Little Einsteins is nothing but Enlightenment content, art and music. That's what they show. So if you play this on your own, and this is one of my daughter's favorite episodes. Bach. There's actually 2 episodes that use that. So go back and watch all your Little Einsteins, and you'll learn all about this era of literature. So I'm just kind of hanging my head on a couple. We talked about Bernini. We did Peter Paul Rubens before, because he dies in 1640. So he's on the cusp of that transition into this era. There's no direct line, even though the content tells us there, and is how the transition of these things come into play. But you shouldn't need to know too many. Oh, I just checked that. That was King Philip IV in that picture of Velasquez. So music, this is the opera type. So 2 big names, Bach, which you just heard, and George Frederick Handel will be another one. And don't forget, probably the most important later in this era, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. All good names to call a cat or dog, by the way. All right. So what Baroque is replaced with in art is called neoclassicism. You can see right here, this is the most famous of them, Jacques-Louis David, French. And what you see again is a revival of classical art, but hitting Enlightenment themes. So it's about power and thinking, but you still see that classicism happening. Who would be another one? You might have heard of a guy by the name of Rembrandt, would be another painter that we consider in this genre of neoclassicism. Watch this little video, because it's kind of cool. It's just art and shows the style. You'll see a lot of this art primarily showing up in the French Revolution, and then neoclassicism is eventually replaced with Romanticism, which is a rejection of the Enlightenment and its quest for rationality. It's an emotional experience, and that's based on the philosophy of Rousseau. That's another conversation for another day. But yeah. In writing, you see some works of art that are probably familiar to you. Daniel Defoe and Robinson Crusoe. Think about what that is. A guy in a boat, mercantilism, trade, all that, stranded on an island, and then dealing with the quest of human nature, what makes us tick. If you'd like, you could watch the retelling of that movie in, what's it called, where the guy has a friend that's a volleyball?
The one?
It's, what's his name? Tom Hanks. He crashes his plane and ends up on an island.
Oh.
It's got like a one word. It's basically Robinson Crusoe, somewhat. Stranded, beached, island guy.
The coconut?
The coconut head guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Castaway. That was our Jedi who figured that out. And then some of you probably I won't read this stuff. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. These are all considered the art movements of this time. Honestly, you're better off reading chapter 13 than relying on my knowledge of these writers. If you can't tell, I hang my head on philosophy and politics, some social history as well. But when I start getting into this, which wasn't part of the curriculum until 2 years ago, there it is. Talk to your English teachers. What do we got? Okay, and then this we can just cover quickly because this we're doing in class anyways. All of this stuff then starts to be discussed. So it's no different than your Twitter feeds and Facebookers and being able to communicate about modern ideas. So if you had ideas and not just memes, I'm judging. These places, new public venues, namely coffee houses in England and coffee. Sam, I'm on a radio show right now. What are you doing? Sign language. I'm almost done. He's trying to talk math. You better not be talking math in my class.
Spanish.
Okay. Coffee houses and then the salons. And coffee from the Mideast becomes the drug of choice. And it revolutionizes everything. These guys were drinking beer and liquor, which just makes you tired and go to bed. Now they're drinking coffee in quantities, and it's invigorating them to discuss. And so the discussions are better. It gets kind of crazy. So we're going to do our coffee house soon. So I am going to go back to our old school textbook. Please read page 526 that discusses these salon culture and coffee houses. And why is it a blank screen? And then this we're going to synthesize. We're going to bring it all back. Third hour, we just had a great discussion today, starting with Immanuel Kant, that you already took me to where I wanted to go, which is this. Can you handle freedom? You say you want it. You say you want it. What are you going to do with it? Brucker, again, I remember third hour, you're like, no, we need points. Capitalism. That's weird that capitalism in its essence is a free enterprise system, yet now we see it as a control mechanism of points. And I've derailed. So we will talk about freedom in school. Notice the thunder colors. Ooh. And then we will synthesize it with this movie. This is actually a real school. If students design their own schools, could it work? I actually had a lot of hope for the senior class when we talked about this their sophomore year, that they would actually take this and run with it with a new principal coming in. Honestly, our biggest ally was Mr. Rick, and he passed away, so we kind of lost mojo there. And they all got obsessed with their AP scores and GPAs and girlfriends and stopped caring about what's really important, which is what I tell them is important. Wait. Kant all over again. If you think you're thinking for yourself, but you're only thinking like I want you to think, aren't you just in another box? Sure, it's a better box because it's my box. All right, and then we will have our Thunder Coffee House Salon. And notice that last message. Don't try to think outside the box. Understand that there is no box. It was a little late, but that was supposed to be a head exploding. All right. I think that's the last slide. Oh, that's just the rules. We'll look at that later. But you can look at that on your own. And then we'll watch this together. This is a video. This video changed the way I teach, to be honest. I mean, not completely, but we'll check it out. Albert remembers it. It's that one about educational system. It's the RSA Animate. I used to show it to everyone on the first day of school to get them thinking differently. But then it's AP and you're boxed in. So, good stuff, though. We'll watch that together. So that said, I hope this doesn't happen when we're done. Because that would make me cry a little bit. I do hope that this doesn't happen either. So that's good too. What would be cool is if this happens. It's Jumanji. You got sucked into the slideshow and had to live through it. That'd be amazing. Peace, I'm out of here.